3, 2, 1. Command has been given. Crank him up.
Let's go. When I say I don't know, I don't know.
Let's go, baby.
Now, the morning drive.
Buckle up, everybody.
A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
It's a game changer.
I listen to you guys every single day on my way to work.
Well, again, I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on the radio.
You guys are amazing.
What are you doing over there?
I'm going to the top.
The morning drive with Mike Bagley and Pete Pistone.
To the bat balls.
Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, live and on the air for this Monday, February 20th, 2023. Mike Bagley here at Daytona International Speedway. We've got Pistol Pete Pistone in the Paisan Palace in Chicago. Sammy and Melvin are in Studio 134 of the Beltway Bureau in our nation's capital. We welcome each and every one of you to this Monday morning after the 65th running of the Daytona 500, a race that featured twists and turns, but in the end, for the third year in a row, another upset winner in the Great American Race.
From Daytona International Speedway.
Driver, start your engine! The wait is over. The green flag is in the air, and we are underway. The 65th running of the Great American Race. Chevrolets up front. Chevrolets will lead the field to turn one for the first time.
5 Toyotas are lined up nose to tail at the front of the field on the outside of the racetrack. You mentioned Bubba. Oh, and he gets turned into the wall. Bubba Wallace bounces off the wall. Looks like a bump draft went bad. Everybody is still in speed, but Bubba Wallace just slammed the outside wall on the back straightaway.
Just put us in the fence pretty hard. 10-4, stay top. I got to look here, stay top. Right side of the car looks fine.
Oh, A.J. Allmendinger's going to come off the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to find himself in the middle. He tried to block the inside line. Eric Almirola, the low lane, snaking and slithering between Riley Herbst and also A.J. Allmendinger. They're 4 wide for a moment.
Headed to the green and white checkered flag for the first time in 2023. Stage number 1 is over. It's going to be won by Brad Keselowski.
Looking outside, green checker right there. Full save, Water, keep going. Don't run over, full save.
Green flag is out. Lap number 71. The field is in front of Mike Bagley.
And the field is in the hands of Brad Keselowski. He'll get power to the lead. Compliments of Eric Almirola.
Now there's trouble just ahead of them. Ryan Blaney hard and into the outside wall. Eric Jones, Kyle Larson. The pack comes apart here in turn 4. Daniel Suarez with nowhere to go. He has damage as the back half of the field nearly comes to a stop here at the exit of turn 4. An incident that started toward the front with Ryan Blaney.
Oh, God. He took a hit here. Yeah, it's killed.
Inside lane trying to get away, led by Joey Logano.
And Logano will have the lead by the time they hit the 33-degree banking in turn number 1.
Now the race back to the stripe. The green and white checkered flag is in the air. Who's going to get here first? Bowman on the outside. Chastain on the inside at the line by inches. It's going to be Ross Chastain who scores the stage win. Stage 2 is complete. Chastain literally by inches over Alex Bowman. 63 laps remain in the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Mike Bagley, Bubba Wallace leads the field off turn number 2.
After crashing into the outside wall early on, Bubba Wallace is back to the lead of the Daytona 500, and he's being very aggressive. He'll start on the bottom, coming out of 2. He'll jump to the outside, trying to block the lane, but here comes the lane down low, and the push to Eric Almirola to the point.
They're crashing in turn 2.
Martin Truex Jr. is in the middle of it. Ryan Preece gets a piece of the action. Michael McDowell is all torn up. Chase Briscoe taking it down to the apron of the track. He may have some fire underneath the hood of the Mahindra Tractors machine. A multi-car pileup.
You've got Joey Logano, Ford Mustang on the inside. Harrison Burton, Ford Mustang on the outside.
Nobody able to get the advantage by the time they hit the banking in turn number 1. They're going to run door to door now all the way through 1 and 2. Everybody's got plenty of drafting help on the back bumper.
Here comes the move. Kyle Busch will jump to the outside of the racetrack. He's going to have help. He's got 2 other Chevys behind him. Buscher loses contact with Keselowski. Kyle Busch to the lead.
Trouble off turn 4. 1 car breaks loose. It's Daniel Suarez spinning to the apron of the speedway.
He'll dive down there, try to correct the race car. Caution is out with 2 laps to go. We're headed to overtime in the Great American Race.
Yellows out. Back in 1998, that would be the win, boys.
Green flag is in the air. Great start for Kyle Busch. After the start-finish line, he crosses over in front of his teammate.
Stenhouse out of the pocket, and they're crashing further back. Dylan, Byron, Byron, Cindric, half a dozen, 10 cars, wad them up on the end of the back straightaway. It started just outside of the top 5. William Byron, one of the first cars to get turned.
Green flag goes back in the air through the gearbox. They go outside lane, gets a bit of a push. Joey Logano shoving Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but the bottom has momentum as well.
Joey Logano, oh, they're in the wall. A.J. Allmendinger is in the fence. The entire pack blows up. A number of cars crashing. Bubba Wallace is in it. Eric Almirola as the leaders race to the back straightaway.
Caution is on the speedway. The race is deemed official. NASCAR, by rule, who was leading when the caution flag gets called, that will be the winner of the Daytona 500. We're waiting for NASCAR to go over the video to be absolutely sure.
Caution's out! Keep digging. Stay in the gas. We coming to the checker? Yep. Stay on the track. Caution and checker. We're waiting. Daytona 500, baby! Let's go, boys! Wow!
At the start-finish line right now, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. pounds the roof of the car, pumps his hands in the air, and climbs up and celebrates with the fans here at Daytona. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Well, just so y'all know, it sucks. I ain't gonna do a burnout. I ain't got no fuel.
Don't have no gas. After the Daytona 500, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Mike Kelly, Tad, and Jody Geschechter, Brad Daugherty, your winners of the 65th running of the Daytona 500. Wow. What a great American race. A race that had a little bit of everything over its 200-plus laps that we ran yesterday, the longest 500 in NASCAR history.
Yeah, the Daytona 530 is what we saw yesterday, and at the end of it, another upset winner in victory lane. Michael McDowell 2 years ago, Austin Cindric last year, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. this year. And a single-car team in this day and age, Baggy, getting a win at all in NASCAR, let alone in the biggest race of the year, that's quite the accomplishment for JTG Daugherty Racing. So happy for Tad Geschechter, Brad Daugherty, and that whole crew there, and certainly Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Mike Kelly, who have had great success working before when they were then in the Nationwide Series, and they get a win yesterday in the Great American Race.
You know, I got thinking about this last night, Pete. If you go back to the end of this race, look how many minds got toyed with at the end of this race. Brad Keselowski, it looked like that he was going to have a shot. It looked like Chris Buescher was going to have a shot. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon. Over the course of that overtime ending that we had, you had several different drivers. A.J. Allmendinger went to the front of the field with like 10 to go. And at that point, you're in that position, and while maybe not in the front of your mind, you thought you were going to win, probably in the back. It's like, okay, I'm in the lead. I got 8 to go. Here we go. All right, and then it's like, because I even said on the air yesterday, don't take those hats to victory lane just yet, because of all the twists and turns that always seem to happen at the end of this race.
Well, you know, when you think back of this race, the first stage, pretty tame. Second stage, got a little more rambunctious, but you knew it was going to ramp up to what we saw there at the end. I mean, I didn't know about the 2 overtimes, but you're right. I mean, there were so many guys and teams that had a chance to win this race. I was really impressed there for a long stretch by Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski, Baggy, for RFK. I mean, they were running nose to tail. They led so many laps together. I thought they were going to be positioned to win. I was really impressed with Kyle Busch and what he did, falling a lap down, speeding on pit road, getting the lap back, and being in the mix there at the end. And, you know, when you think back, I get it, hindsight's 20/20, but he lining up on the front row with Austin Dillon instead of nose to tail, you wonder how that might have played out differently had they thought about a different strategy. So there were so many things playing out there at the end, and really and truly you didn't know until, unfortunately, the accident happened. Kyle Larson hit the wall as hard as he did on the back straightaway, and the light came on. You went to the videotape, and basically you saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ahead of Joey Logano when it mattered.
So what stood out to you yesterday?
I think for me, a lot of the teams that we didn't really see a lot from during the week, we saw a lot of yesterday. I go back to Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. They did a really good job working together, those Fords. The manufacturer allegiances, they were there. I saw a little bit of some jumbled up allegiances on the manufacturer side, which sort of really kind of surprised me there. But I guess at the end, the bottom line is that I think we all know, we've seen this now. This has happened. This is going to be a race at the end where those alliances go away. Teammates are good for a while, but when you have to make the move, you say goodbye to your teammates, and the jockeying for position there at the end unfortunately led to a caution flag, and there's Stenhouse Jr. winning the race. And again, talk about the odds and all that. Another long shot. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at one point was plus 3,500. Some folks got him for plus 3,000 yesterday. That's 30-1. They just keep paying dividends with these long shots, Mike. And if anybody out had money on the 47 yesterday, salute, because you had a big payday when Stenhouse Jr. got the checkered flag.
Well, we will hear from Tad Geschecter, the owner. We will hear from Mike Kelly, the crew chief, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the winning driver of the Daytona 500. They will be joining me in studio here in Daytona this morning. And what about that team? That is an underdog team that at once was a 2-car team. It's gone to a 1-car team, and basically compared to the others in that garage, the little team that did yesterday here in Daytona.
And we say it all the time. We love stories, and that's a great story. Tad Geschecter has been around, 16 years, he said, and we'll talk to him later in the show. Brad Doherty, our guy being the part owner of that team. NASCAR Chasm, on Twitter had the best tweet of the day. He said, Brad Doherty now has something Michael Jordan doesn't have, a Daytona 500 win.
Wow.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
No,
that was good
right there.
That was good, though. That's good, but that was good. But those little small, a 1-car team, right? A 1-car team winning the race. And Tad Geschecter, as long as he's been here. Brad Doherty becomes the first black team owner to win a Daytona 500. That was history made yesterday there at Daytona. All those stories, check all those boxes yesterday. That was a wonderful story for the 47 team for sure.
First female team owner to win the Great American Race. First African-American team owner to win the Great American Race. And it was spectacular how they were able to accomplish all that. So
correct.
We've got a lot to cover here today. We're going to visit in person with the winning folks. They will be here. We're going to have some checkered flags and black flags. We'll recap also the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300 later in the show. That was the NASCAR Xfinity Series season opener. And we'll also revisit the NASCAR the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season opening, Next Era Energy 250, here from Daytona International Speedway. When we come back, you will hear from the top finishers in the Daytona 500. We'll also give you headline check number 1 at the bottom of the hour. TMD brought to you in part by our friends at Kubota. Kubota, together we do more.